a very excellent speaker. I'm also pleased to welcome the Chief Executive Officer, RouteWatche, Adebayo Adeleke. A round of applause for Adebayo Adeleke. All three would be having a fireside chat on connectivity across borders, enhancing connectivity in the African data center ecosystem. Another round of applause for them. Thank you.
How you doing?
I don't know.
My name is Adebayo Adeleke. I'm going to look at this from a perspective of national security, how data center and the connectivity actually affect national security from perspective. I have a background in human security and supply chain. So I have been on this journey for about 25 years. And then I have a company called RouteWatche. RouteWatche is actually a data platform that we use data to save lives. It's part of our business to digitize data and be able to implant it in such a way and in such a manner that everyone that doesn't have access to security and law enforcement agency for escort to be able to look at their routes and be able to see, do I want to plow this route or not? And then we also, on our RouteWatche Intelligence, we are also using data that we gather from our communities and our crowdsourcing platform, and also merge it with what we know for real, and then we kind of provide risk intelligence for a lot of organizations, churches, and non-profit alike to be able to make intelligent decisions about saving lives. While every life is precious and is worth saving. That's pretty much myself, and I'll turn it over to data drives data centers. I think it's a no-brainer. But the inability for Africa to actually understand the importance of data is number one priority that we've yet to unlearn here. But I'll take a break from that for a bit. We've been hearing the word AFCTA, African Continental Free Trade Agreement, that's been going on for quite some time. A lot of champion, a lot of conversations have been had of how can Africa be of independence. About a few months ago, I was at the US Africa Business Summit. And a gentleman from IHS actually revealed a very interesting data that three-quarters of African data does not reside on the continent. It's hosted somewhere else. And that should sink in for a while, that the three-quarters of our data that we actually produces. I took a Uber here this morning, and the guy, of course, just like every other Uber driver, is, what's your account number? You're trying to do a transfer. It said OPay. Now, okay, OPay is not a Nigerian company anyways, but I can guarantee from my case study that I've done that the data actually that been kind of mined over there is not actually in Nigeria. And it's quite concerning, because if you transfer to OPay or OPay receive any different from you, you can pretty much rest assured of all kind of data has been used in that sense. It kind of takes me a bit like, if three-quarters of African data is not reside in the data, then where are they? We've not been able to, we can't have to remove that shackles, and we have to build this ecosystem, because the ecosystem, for the lack of better word, I don't want to use the word, but it's still being colonized. If we do not have control over our data system, if we could not kind of connect those ecosystems together, we go actually, the whole thing is in peril. And that's why I'm bringing it back to the national security concerns. If we do not, again, bring back those data and make use, just like Mr. Peter said, make use of those data and let them be relevant, it's of no use, because all the data, for example, I've been shafted a few times by AWS and Azure. They're easy, they're accessible and whatnot, but they're not the most ideal. I don't have control of my data. Regardless of the data being controlled here, but it's still being shipped somewhere else in some sea in Los Angeles or so like that, being housed. It makes no sense that we produce so much data across the continent and we cannot house them within our data centers. And it's quite concerning. Again, it's a national security issue. If they own your data, they own you. It's pretty much it. And I think every government in Africa should be very cognizant of that, because gone are those days we have climate security now, we have data security, which has become an issue, because now you wonder why they are playing with Africans in such a way that they are. It's because they understand data is about pattern of life. Do you understand what I'm saying? Data is about pattern of life. So as well as they understand the data, they can actually understand the way you behave, and that's it. So my encouragement as for entrepreneurs, I know it's very hard, and we need to figure out a way to make, use of these data centers affordable for small businesses, because small businesses are the engine that powers African economy. And we can make those data centers reliable and make use of them. Just like I said, we can have so many data centers, but they're not of any use. Most businesses still find it easy and affordable to use other data centers that are offshore of Africa. It's quite concerning, and we might not see it as a problem right now. We might see it as a cost issue. I just want to get my business rolling. It costs a lot to use a main one or whatnot, but it will cost much more 10 years and 20 years from now, when our data now becomes something of a concern for us all. What do you say? My closing notes as well. From a national security perspective, it is important not only for Nigeria, but all African nations to get hold of their own data centers and to make sure that it works for them. It's of no reason, just like Mr. Peter said, that we are government agencies that are outsourcing their hosting of their data outside the continent. It's quite important, because we might not see it right now, but 10, 15 years down the road, it will really hit us back on the head. Like, why did we do this 10, 15 years ago? Why we outsourced this? It's very important for these data centers to be interconnected and to be relevant. It all relies on us. Businesses, institutions alike, we have to make that concerted effort. As difficult as it may be, as difficult as the decision might be, as price sensitive as it may be, if we don't do it now, the alternate is very perilous in nature. Thank you.
Thank you.